big picture, are the Niners going to make the playoffs next season? Is this still a playoff team?
On 49ers Twitter, it's like there's this auto bid that the 49ers are automatically going to make the playoffs, which I'm completely not on board with right now. Yes, the potential is there, but there are so many unknowns at this point in time that you can't definitively say that the 49ers are going to make the playoffs. If you go through the positional groups as far as where they rank within the division, they have the fourth best quarterback in the division. Running backs, they might have the best set of running backs. The Rams are right up there. Wide receivers around the division, there's a lot of very good wide receivers on each team. Tight end, you have George Kittle. The offensive line is in a similar boat as the other three teams where there's a lot of questions. Defensive line, how's Nick Bosa going to recover? Linebacker, you're set. The secondary, there's a lot of questions. There is just way too many unknowns right now to know whether or not the 49ers are going to make the playoffs next year. There's a lot of good building blocks, a lot of good cornerstones, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. But you can't say definitively right now. You just can't.
Yeah. You 100% cannot because, I mean, at this time last year, when we have all said that the 49ers should make the playoffs in 2020, and obviously that didn't happen. A lot of things definitely we lost Jack, but things changed, and the 49ers didn't make the playoffs. How can you say any team really just besides the Chiefs maybe and Tampa Bay that you'd say, yes, they're going to make the playoffs? Green Bay, yes, they're going to make the playoffs. But the 49ers have uncertainty at quarterback. They have uncertainty on the offensive line. They have, two for sure starters, and one of them got blown up every single time a guy rushed off the edge. And then their defense, we don't know who's going to be on the edge opposite Nick Bosa. We don't know who's going to be alongside Jimmy Ward at safety, who's going to be at the cornerbacks. I think they will make the playoffs, but I'm not saying they're guaranteed. There's only 3-4 teams I would say are.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I still think they have a lot of talent on this roster. I do. And I think they have a relatively easy schedule outside of the division next year. But I think this is the toughest division in the league, certainly in the NFC. And even if the Niners on paper look like they could win 9 games with Jimmy Garoppolo, and 9 games could get you there with 7 teams making the playoffs instead of 6. But I don't know. I mean, do you really see the Niners finishing anything other than 4th in the NFC West next year?
Oh, yeah. I can definitely see a scenario where they don't finish 4th in the NFC West.
Okay.
Yeah. It's too early to assume that they're a playoff team. Once the draft rolls around, free agency rolls around, they can certainly, on paper, look like one of the best teams in the NFC. I don't think that is too far-fetched. But there's a lot of assuming. Whoever thinks the 49ers are a lock for the playoffs is doing a lot of assuming right now. You're assuming that Trent Williams is going to re-sign with the team. You're assuming that Nick Bosa is the same player he was prior to his second ACL tear. So I'm just going to pump the brakes, see how everything unfolds before I definitively say whether or not I think this team is a playoff team.
Jack, what do you think?
I think they have a chance to be a playoff team if their quarterback can stay healthy. I think the quarterback position is the biggest key for them. They would have been a playoff team this year if they had just gotten a little bit better play from the quarterback position. So I think they're going to have a chance. It's going to be really interesting to see what they do over the next 3 months. That'll really give us a better picture of where they're going to end up.
It's so early, but is it fair to say? Well, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'm going to say on February 19th, I see a 9-win team on paper. What do you guys think?
I need to look up their schedule.
Yeah, I can see it. Go ahead, Nick.
Well, they have the 4th place schedule. They're playing all the other last place teams like Randy touched on in the NFC. They're playing the AFC South this year, which may be tough. You're looking at a team without Deshaun Watson, potentially with the Texans.
Jacksonville, though.
Houston,
so Jacksonville.
Yeah. The Colts will be tough. The Titans will be tough. It's a favorable schedule compared to this past year, definitely. And I think 9 wins right now, that seems pretty safe. It's pretty safe at this point in time, knowing the players that you do have on the roster, and that can really shift depending on who leaves or who they pick up over in the coming months.
I think you were saying how the 49ers are probably the 4th team in the division.
Yes.
I think I like them better than Arizona, but that's up for debate. And also, we don't really know what Seattle's going to look like next year. They're losing pieces. They don't have a ton of cap space. They're changing their offense back to not letting Russ cook. So who knows what's happening, because who's going to be the running back?
They've had like 2 philosophy changes in the last 12 months, right?
Yeah, and
it's amazing.
They're probably going to lose Chris Carson in free agency. Rashad Penny hasn't proved he's a first-round pick, even though he was. They're going to have to redo their running back rotation. They'll probably not resign Frank Gore. Yeah, I mean, that would be a real...
That would be crazy.
Dagger to the heart.
Yeah. With the extra game this year, it's going to be interesting too, because we look at it right now. We say, oh, they're going to be a 9-win team. That's
right.
But they got 17 games, so it's going to it's going to have to be 9 at least to get in there, because there's no 500 anymore, so it's going to be 9 or 10 wins to get in. I think.
Well, I think they're going to win 9.5 games in that case.
They're going to get a tie.
They're going to get a tie.